Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a double-up game that I'm playing here together with JDP El Grillo. We are at Diamond Matchmaking in double up. And in this game, we're going to be looking at Deadeye team composition, one I featured in a couple different videos, but with the specific goal of looking at a Deadeye team that just absolutely deletes the back line. And that's kind of what the goal of the Deadeye trait is if you can stack up the trait high enough, that you have enough damage that it just instantly deletes units on the back line of the enemy team. All right, so here, the initial portal, there is Jace's Workshop. We really don't want to play Jace's Workshop. That's the triple prismatic option. There's also Yumi's Zoom Zone, which grants extra XP, but instead I actually get the portal this time, 1 in 8 odds. And that means that we're going to have my selection, which is God Willow's Grove. I've had this in some other videos as well. This is one of my favorite portals just because I think it opens up some interesting team compositions. What it is the rightmost slot on your bench. Any unit that you place there will contribute their traits as if they are on the board. And it opens up some interesting additions. It does mean you have to think things through a little bit more. In terms of how you play the team. So it does tend to favor vertically scaling team compositions a bit, in the sense that, like, if you want to play, I don't know, if you want to play 7 Shurima, you only need to have 6 Shurima units on the board, and then you can have a 1-cost Shurima unit stand on the God Willow's Grove. But it also lets you do just kind of some interesting combinations. Sometimes you might want to put a unit that has 3 traits over there, like Zed can be a good one to put there because he has triple traits, or I don't know, someone like Swain or somebody like that. But anyway, it's just kind of a creative one. Some of the portals I think are more interesting than others. Some of them just give free loot, which I don't think is all that interesting. And this one I think is one of the more creative ones. And we've had good success playing this one in the past. All right, at least up to this point in time, I have no idea what I'm going to play. I'm just kind of getting stuff all over the place. Grillo had a decent number of Ionian units at the start, so he was thinking maybe he would play in that direction. So I was like, oh, okay, do you want an Aurelia? And he said yes, because that'll make 2-star Aurelia, so I'm going to go ahead and send right there. But at least at this point in time, I was like, I just kind of have stuff that's all over the place. I have like a pair of Malzahars, I have a pair of Samiras, I have a pair of Gallios, but I don't really want to pick that up. I was like, so is it Invokers? But I don't quite know exactly what I'm going to do here. Let's just see what the initial augment is. Turns out it's a silver augment, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and roll some of these, and then I see, Deadeye Heart. Your team counts as having 1 additional Deadeye, gain and Ash. I was like, okay, let's play Deadeyes. Deadeyes are pretty strong in this particular patch. I'm happy to play them. And it is now the problem is I don't have any Deadeyes. I literally have none whatsoever on my team. I'm going to get an Ash from this, but I really could use another unit to play through. The good news is Grillo has a 2-star Jin, and he's going to send me the 2-star Jin, which he was initially planning on playing, but he was like, no, you've got the Deadeye. You've got the Deadeye augment. Why don't you go ahead and play it? So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and play through the Jin, and we'll just rely on Jin here in the early game and try to have him do damage. So now I need to try to build my team around the Jin. Let's go ahead and get Poppy on the board. And then I was hoping I could get Ionia trait in, but no, I can't actually get Ionia trait in. And by the way, I sell the Aurelia, which is a mistake. I should have held the Aurelia, because on level 5 I could play the set and then put the Aurelia on the God Willow's Grove, and then that would put Ionia trait in. But for right now, my board is all 1-stars aside from the Jin, so it's not going to be terribly powerful right now. And I'm not expecting to do especially well. I put the bow on the Jin, and yeah, that's not going to do that much either. Unfortunately, I have the belt plus cloak combo, which is not really what you want for frontline. It's like any other 2 frontline items is a good pairing, but those 2 don't really work that well because they make Zephyr, which is not really what you want in the early game. It's like double belt is great, that's Wormogs. Double vest is good, that's Bramble Vest. Double cloak is good, that's Bramble Vest. The belt plus vest is good, that's Sunfire. The vest plus cloak is good, that's Gargoyle's Stoneplate. But then the cloak plus the belt, the Zephyr, that's the one you don't want. So I was like, yeah, I definitely don't want to make a Zephyr this early in the game. I think I can do better stuff with these items. So I'm left with like these components that don't make a full item, which is not really what you're looking for. All right. I'm also coming up against some rather strong boards here. This is a Void board, and Void tends to be strong in the early game. Void's actually not very strong at all in this particular patch. It's supposed to get buffed in the next patch that's going to come out, but it is strong in the early game because you get the extra unit, and that person's board is quite a bit stronger than mine, and I kill no units, and just kind of get completely plowed over. So I was like, oh, that's not especially great. Definitely need to get more frontline. And then if I can get more frontline, then maybe Jin will actually be able to kill some units. One good thing about Jin, oh, by the way, there's an Aurelia in the store, so that's nice. Now, I sold that Aurelia earlier, which I probably shouldn't have done. But now I at least have the option to play one of those units on level up, and then I'll be able to put the other one in God's Willow Grove and get Ionia trait in, which is going to give Jin a little additional damage. Could also play Zed as well, but I'm really looking for more tankiness than anything else, and Set is more of a tank than either Aurelia or Zed. I guess Aurelia is reasonably tanky too, but I think Set's a little bit better if they don't have any other traits in. Grillo, meanwhile, over there is kind of building a challengers board here in the early game. He's actually been finding a ton of Aurelias, and we probably could have made Aurelia 3-star if we wanted to. But he did not want to look to make Aurelia 3-star. That's not really where he sees his team going. And so he's going to end up going in a different direction here. Now, one thing I'll also point out is this isn't something that happens at kind of the lower tier levels of Deadeye. Notice how I'm just kind of like tickling the back line. We're not really killing anything. We're just kind of like getting everything low without actually killing it. That can be one of the things if you have lower levels of the Deadeye trait, because it's not really that good at finishing off enemy units. It inherently hits the highest health enemy target on the enemy team. So we're kind of like whittling away on the enemy backline, but not actually killing anything, which is not quite what you want. So I really wanted to get another Deadeye unit here so I could get up to 4 Deadeye. My augment is not actually doing anything right now. It's just taking me from 2 Deadeye to 3 Deadeye, which does literally nothing. So I was really hoping that there'd be an action on Carousel here. I did have first pick because I'd been losing all the initial rounds, but no, there's no action on Carousel, so I just had to go ahead and take the sword, because I think that's the best I could do. Alternately, I could have taken a frontline item here, and that might have been a better choice, to be honest. But I wanted to get an item. I was kind of, I was intending to play through Deadeye, so I figured I would try to take Deadeye items. And if you're going to play through Deadeyes, what you want is the sword. Because you really need physical damage to make this team comp work. Anyway, this will at least put Ionia trait in. I also realized I could go ahead and make Hurricane, which is not a great Jin item, but it is a good action item. So I'll go ahead and make that with the hope that I can send this over to an action after I find him. Again, the goal is to find another Deadeye unit. Of course, I could find Urgot or Aphelios, but those are 4-cost units. A little bit unlikely I'm going to find them here, but I do have good odds to find action, especially because I'm in a 2-player game here with Grillo. So we just need one of the two of us to find a single action, and then I'll be able to play 4 Deadeyes, and then my board will be a lot stronger because I'll be doing significantly more damage to the enemy team. I still have really bad frontline, and that's kind of a problem. I've got like this one, what does I have, a 1-star Maokai and a 1-star... what did I have? I had a Poppy, but I think I replaced that with a Cassidin. So I was like, all right, this is not working. Let's at least pick up these Bruisers, and maybe I can find more Bruisers, because these 1-star Bastions are not getting it done. They're dying way too fast here, and I'm on this 4-match losing streak. So I wouldn't say it's been a good early game thus far. I do find another Ash here, but that's not going to do that much on its own. So kind of a rough early game here. But like I said, if you don't have frontline in the early game, it tends to go kind of poorly. Meanwhile, Grillo has 6 Aurelias, and I have 2 more. At this point, I was like, do we want to go for Aurelia 3-star? But he was like, no, we're not looking to go for Aurelia 3-star. So I do end up selling that one right here. But I want to keep the extra one on my bench so I can run God Willow's Grove and get Ionia trait in. I don't think there's anything better I could play. I mean, I don't want like Challenger, Juggernaut, Shadow Isles. None of that's going to do anything for me. Freljord would be nice, but I haven't found a Lysandra yet, or obviously not a Sejuani. I would probably be playing either of those units if I had found them. So I do think that getting Ionia trait in to boost Jin's damage a little bit, that's probably the best I can do. Now, this person has randomly found a Kaisa that they're playing, which is kind of interesting. I guess they found the 2% odds Kaisa. Kaisa's not especially strong in this patch, though, and they have taken a Sorcerer's Heart, so they're looking to play into Sorks. The Kaisa is not really going to fit that board. In any case, I do end up beating them, which is just in time to end my loss streak right before the minion round. So it kind of would have been better to lose that round, but at least then I'm able to go over to Grillo's board, and we interrupt someone else's win streak over there. So that's not so bad. And I think this is about the point where I decided I was going to ditch the Bastion units and just replace with Bruiser Frontline, because Bruiser Frontline is what I want to play with this board anyway. I want to play into Sejuani, and that'll make it a little bit easier to do the transition later on. Okay, so let's cover the Bastion trait, the Deadeye trait here. I've done a couple of videos on this, but I figure it's still worthwhile to cover this trait anyway. because it is the focus of this video. All right, Deadeyes innately get +1 range. That's not really that big of a deal unless you put a Deadeye emblem on somebody, but they do get +1 range. The ability is every 3 seconds, Deadeyes attack the enemy with the highest % health and deal bonus damage. So it's whoever has the highest % health. Deadeye 2, it's 20% extra damage. Deadeye 4, 65% extra damage. Deadeye 6, 150% damage. So the benefit goes up by a lot at each additional tier. It triples, actually more than triples, when you go to Deadeye 4. And then it more than doubles again when it goes up to Deadeye 6. So Deadeye 6 is, what, 7 times the value of Deadeye 2? So the net effect of all this is at lower tiers, Deadeye doesn't really do that much. Like Deadeye 2 doesn't really have much of an effect of anything. It just kind of tickles the back line. I mean, it's like you get a little additional damage, but because you're always hitting the highest health target, it doesn't really have that big of an effect. That said, when you get up to higher tiers of Deadeye, you really can start just sniping the back lines, because when all the Deadeye units fire a coordinated shot at the same target, it hits very hard. And you can sometimes just pop their carries, especially if they're 1-stars. You can just like pop the enemy carries. And that's really the goal of what you want. That's why you want to try to get as many swords as possible with this setup. Is like I said, Death Blades are really good. Infinity Edge is good so that the damage can crit. All that stuff is quite nice. And that's what I'm going to be looking to do in this game. Anyway, I did not think my board was very strong at all there. I did manage to hit a 2-star Cho, so I have a slightly better front line. And Grillo sent me a Lysandra, so I'll be able to play that on level up. Then I found another one on my own. I sent him a Warwick because he's playing a bunch of Challenger and Juggernaut units at the moment, so he can make use of the Warwick. Anyway, it's time for the second augment, and I'm actually going to get something really critical here that I didn't realize how good it would be. I didn't like any of these options. I was like, and then I was like, wait a minute, maybe it's Jeweled Lotus. Your unit's abilities can critically strike. Your units gain 15% critical strike chance. I was like, you know, I don't have any gloves on my board right now. And I'm going to level and put Lysandra in here for failure trait. I was like, I have no gloves right now, so my units don't have any crit chance. It actually would be really nice to be able to let my units crit without having to build Infinity Edge. Then maybe I could look to build Deathblade instead and still have the damage from the Deadeyes actually go ahead and crit. So I also believe that having the Jeweled Lotus lets the Deadeye procs crit as well. Now, I'm not 100% sure of that, but I believe that's how it works because it says your unit's abilities can critically strike. So I believe that that's how that works. And that definitely reflects what I was seeing throughout the rest of this game. So if you watch the Deadeye procs, remember every 3 seconds you're going to see the little Deadeye procs go off on a unit on the enemy team. It does appear as though they can crit now. And you can see it's a crit because the font is like bolded. You'll see you get the little status effect. It's like a little explosion status effect next to it. It's a little hard to see, but there is a little effect next to it. I guess if you go back and pause the video, you can see it. So it does appear as though the Deadeye procs can now crit as well. And we also get an innate additional 15% extra critical strike chance on all the units too. So this was not an interaction I had really thought about before playing this game, and I kind of stumbled into it while playing it. But then I was like, you know, it looks like all my Deadeye procs are having a pretty good odds to critically strike, even without having to build IE, without Infinity Edge. So now I can just go very, very heavy on the damage with just nothing but swords. And the Deadeye procs, which scale off of AD, by the way. So Deathblade's actually really, really good. And not having to waste a slot on Infinity Edge and still get the ability to crit is also really, really good as well. So yeah, this is not really doing that much just yet because I still only have the 3 Deadeye in. Again, my initial silver augment is still doing absolutely nothing for me because I have not been able to find another Deadeye unit. The funny thing is we played a game right before this as well. I played a game with Antisocial Monkey, and it was very similar. My initial augment was a Deadeye. It was a Deadeye emblem, not a Deadeye heart, but it was very similar. And I went all of stage 2 and all of stage 3 without being able to find an action. So I was like, okay, now come on. Surely I'm not going to go all of stage 2 and all of stage 3 again 2 games in a row without being able to find an action, right? Obviously, that can't happen 2 games in a row. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, I am second pick on the carousel here, and I see that there is an Aphelios. So I was like, give me the Aphelios. Okay. The Aphelios would have given me 4 Deadeye, and that would have been quite nice. I would have transferred Jin's items over to him. But I don't get it, so I will go ahead and take the sword instead. Now, if I did not have the Jeweled Lotus, I would have taken the glove here and made Infinity Edge, but I don't really need it because all of the abilities of my team can crit anyway, even without having the Infinity Edge, so I don't need the glove, and I'll just go ahead and make Deathblade instead, and that's going to increase the scaling off of those Deadeye procs. Remember, they scale off of a percentage of AD. Just to go back to the official description again, Deadeye 2 is 20% damage, and Deadeye 4 is 65% damage. Well, again, that's scaling off AD. So the more AD I have, by building something like Deathblade, the more those Deadeye procs are going to do in terms of damage. And not to keep repeating myself, they can crit because I have Jeweled Lotus. So, I mean, I'm kind of being held back here by the fact that I'm still on 3 Deadeye, and I've been on 3 Deadeye the whole time, which is really annoying. But, you know, as soon as I land that, I'm going to be in a position whereby my board should start to take off pretty well. Even though I have pretty bad frontline right now, I did just take the target dummies. Stage 3-5, you get the gift from your partner. I was like, yes, please give me the target dummy so I can get some additional frontline here. I definitely need that more than additional components because I've got a 2-star Cho who's a 1-cost bruiser. I've got a 1-star Vi, and then I've got this 1-star no traits set. I guess he technically has Ionia trade in, but doesn't have Juggernaut trade in. I have like this very weak frontline that doesn't do much of anything. Good thing Jin is actually doing a lot of damage. And it does look like the Deadeye damage, now that he has the Deathblade, is really starting to kick in and start deleting units on the enemy team. So here's a chance to send something back to Grillo. I will look to send him, what does he want here? I believe he takes the component Anvil, if I remember correctly. He is trying to itemize a Warwick. He actually has a Warwick that's really close to 3-star. And he wasn't planning on playing through the Warwick, but he ends up doing so. I think he was able to get a Quicksilver Sash. So Grillo made the decision he was going to play into a Juggernaut board at this point in time. That's definitely not a meta board in this patch. It's not really something that anybody plays, but Grillo's really good at playing unconventional boards and making them work. So he's going to end up playing Juggernauts in this game, and it ended up working reasonably well overall, and he kind of stumbled into a Warwick that was pretty strong. He wasn't really planning on having Warwick carry him for long term, but that's kind of what ended up happening in this game. But anyway, we'll see more of that as the game goes on, as we also finally get a chance to see some Deadeye units. Okay, so yes, unfortunately, I did go all the way through Stage 2 and all the way through Stage 3. 0 actions in my store, 0 actions in Grillo's store. So now I definitely have to roll on 7 here. I'm actually kind of surprised I won 4 out of 5 rounds on Stage 3, even though I was still stuck on the 3 Deadeye. I do think that getting the 2-star Cho and then getting the 2-star Lysandra helped me. And I also think making the Deathblade was a big difference too. That it did seem like that really increased the damage that Jin was doing, in particular from the Deadeye procs, but also some people were playing kind of greedy and econing to level 7 as well. So anyway, I was not punished there, and yeah, I was somewhat surprisingly able to go on a little mini 3-round winning streak there, which I was not expecting to do. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to go to level 7 here. I'm definitely going to roll here on level 7. And I'm going to look to try and, you know, hit my Deadeyes. Ideally, I would hit all of the Deadeye units. If I could hit Action plus Aphelios plus Urgot for 6 Deadeyes, that would be absolutely perfect. Not really expecting that to happen, but maybe it will. And I'd also love to find Sejuani as well. So those are the units that I'm looking for, those 4 units. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look to roll here. I'm also picking up Juggernaut units for Grillo. So I've got about 40 gold to roll with. So let's see what we can find. Nothing there. There's an action, so that's good. I'll put him in. There's the 4 Deadeye, so that's going to help a lot. And keep rolling. There's another action. There's a Sedge. That's huge. It's actually really big to find the Sejuani, so I'm going to move my tank items over to the Sedge. Now let's see what else I can find. I want to roll a little bit more. I'm going to get gifted an action from Grillo, so that gets me action 2-star. So I'm going to go ahead and move my items over to him. Deathblade plus the Hurricane. Hurricane's a much better item on him. So now we're on 4 Deadeye, 3 Freljord. We've hit some of the really key units. And we still have Ionia trait in, which isn't really doing that much for us. Now, note I've also got some items I don't really want here. I've got 2 rods and a cloak. I'm actually going to reforge all of them. And oh, wow, is that good for me. I'm going to hit another Deathblade. This is amazing for me to hit. Remember, Deathblade's just a great item for me to have. Now, I could put this on action as well, but I was kind of hoping I could put it on another Deadeye. I was kind of hoping I could put it on Aphelios. So I'm going to hold off for right now. And action carries that fight super duper hard and does 6,000 damage. So yeah, nicely done there. All right, now I've got one last augment here. It's probably not Magic Wand. It's not Pandora's items. I was thinking very strongly about Cybernetic Bulk, but I was like, I could also go for the Ornn item here and try to pull Eternal Winter. That would really help my front line. It's like, I think I'll go for it. Let's go for it. And as it turns out, boom, it's there, Eternal Winter. So I clicked on that way too fast for you to see the item description. By the way, I also find an Aphelios here as well. So I'll get back to that in a minute. I wanted to roll a little bit more. I was Urgot away from hitting the I was an Urgot away from hitting 6 Deadeye, so I wanted to roll and see if I could hit the Urgot. Also to see if I could hit any more units. I hit a Rise, and then I get down to 10 gold, and I decide to stop there. I also need to replace the Djinn with the Aphelios, so that's another issue that I can do there. And I need to stop running the Aurelia on the Godwillow's Grove because Ionia trait's not really doing anything for me right now. But yeah, pretty good there. I did find the Urgot. That's the unit I most wanted to find. I still need to find him for 6 Deadeye, but I think this is playable here. I would like to get Rise onto the board because Rise is a 5-quest unit. It's pretty nice. He'll give me Invoker trait. Here on this is an Ionia portal, so he's going to give me the tree. He summons a tree that stuns a group of enemy units, which is, not incredible, but not bad. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and send the Darius over to Grillo there. It's going to make 2-star Darius for his board. I'm also going to make the 2-star Djinn and then immediately get rid of the 2-star Djinn, which is kind of hilarious. But I would rather play the Aphelios than that. I'll put the Rise in the Godwillow's Grove for right now. And then I was like, is this really the best I can do? He's giving me the trait, but you know what? Let's go ahead and put the Vi on the Godwillow's Grove. That'll give me Bruiser trait. And I do want to keep the setup there just for another 2-star frontliner. I think that's going to give me a little bit more protection. And then I'm going to look to clear my bench here. But what I really want to do is go to level 8 now and then find Urgot and then play the Urgot plus the Rise. Then I can go ahead and play 6 Deadeye. I can put the Djinn in the Godwillow's Grove and then look to be set from there. All right, I actually had to stop the recording there for a second, but we're just going to pick right back up here again with the rest of this. As I mentioned, so I'm kind of in the middle of putting my team together. I really want to get the 6 Deadeye in, but I probably have to get to level 8 for that, unless, what's this? There's an Urgot on this carousel. What is the one unit I need? Urgot. I have to find an Urgot. So I was like, ooh, nobody wants that Urgot, do they? Come on. I'm last to pick on this carousel. Come on. Nobody wants this Urgot, right? Now, Grillo's going to get a Scion, which is pretty nice as well for his board. I was like, oh, that person got really close, but no. They do not pick up the Urgot. So I was like, yes, I will take that. So I'm going to reconfigure my board a little bit further. I will finally ditch the set. The set was pretty helpful. We're going to put Djinn in the Godwillow's Grove. We're going to ditch the Rise for now, but I will put Rise on the bench, and I'll look to play him on level 8. I could technically play the Rise, but I do think I need a little bit more frontline here. My frontline situation is pretty sketchy right now. I have a 1-star Sedge and a 1-star Vi, so I'm really glad I have the training dummies. Now, Urgot can provide a little bit of frontline on his own, but this is definitely a little on the shaky side. Now, that said, I have 6 Deadeye in, and remember, 6 Deadeye is 150% of the base AD damage on each Deadeye proc, so now we have the ability to just flat out delete backlines when the Deadeye procs go off, because remember, they always hits the highest percentage HP target. So these fights are going to start to get pretty funny, and that's the reason why I wanted to do a cast of this video, even though I've done a couple of other Deadeye games before. Action's going to be doing the most damage because he's the only 2-star I have, but the fact that I have double Death Blades is really good, and the fact that I was able to reforge into that Death Blade was very, very nice. That was a great piece of RNG. Also, getting the Urgot off the carousel was very nice as well, making up for the fact that I have not really seen Deadeye units all that well in this game. I mean, I guess I was able to get action 2-star, which is good. Oftentimes when people play this build, they go for 3-star action. Clearly, that's not going to happen in this game because I didn't see any of them throughout Stage 2 and Stage 3. I did find the 1 Aphelios, and then I was able to get an Urgot off carousel, so I guess that's kind of what I needed, and I did hit the 1 Sejuani, which was really big because it got me up to the 3 Freljord. All right, so this person's playing a very similar build. They're also playing a Deadeye setup, but they don't have augments that are nearly as good as me. And if you notice, wow, look at these Deadeye procs. They're getting the backline so low. We just absolutely blow up the Aphelios instantly. Literally went from full health to nothing in just one set of Deadeye procs right there. That is the power of this build, because that person had a bunch of 2-stars. I had pretty much all 1-stars, and I still win the round because I just instantly delete the Aphelios. I think I got their action down to like 1% health, but he managed to survive. But Aphelios, nope, no deal. He just gets sniped, and that allows me to win a round that I really have no business winning. I mean, look at my board. 1-star Sejuani, 1-star Vi. 1-star Aphelios, 1-star Urgot. Like, this board should really not be win streaking, but I actually win streaked all through stage 4. And that's the power of having the 6 Deadeye, plus having the double Death Blades, plus having Jeweled Lotus. Like, this is all combining together into an effect that's really kind of disgusting in terms of what it does to the enemy backlines. They're just absolutely getting annihilated in these fights. All right, so let's see what else we can do. All right, now there's a glove. That's not bad. Also a bow. I could definitely use some more attack speed. It's one of the things I'm really lacking in this board. Normally you want like attack speed for Aphelios, and I don't really have that here. Anyway, let's go ahead and roll on 8 and see what we can find. So there's another Vi. There's a Warwick for Grillo, potentially. There's another Nasus. He's playing into Juggernauts now, and he did make a 3-star Warwick. There's another Sejuani, so I just want one more Sedge. I'm actually on a fair number of pairs here. There's another Urgot, so again, a lot of pairs. Can I actually manage to 2-star any of these? Okay, there we go. Right as my money's about to wear off, I finally get some hits. We'll also put Rise back on the board. Because Urgot's been 2-starred, I think I decide I'm going to Thief's Glove him. Just because, as I said, he's the only 2-star Deadeye I have aside from Action. I guess Ash is 2-starred as well. And I'll go ahead and make a Hurricane for the Aphelios. Now, I do get Zephyr, but oof, look at these Deadeye procs. The backline just dying. Watch the Lux here. Boom! Down she goes. All the Deadeye units focus her, and she just dies instantly. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Oof! Something in the corner there. I didn't even see what unit that was here on the cast. Just died. I guess we're up against the other person who's playing Aphelios, and they're getting low. Looks like they're healing. Can we manage to finish them off? Yep, another Deadeye sequence hits them, and down they go. So that team's down to 1 HP. So I did manage to run myself all the way down to 0 gold, but yeah, I kind of made my board here. Now, I had the option here to get another Ornn item or a champion duplicator, and I was like, you know what? An Ornn item would be nice, but what would really help me here is 2-star Sejuani. That's what will make my board. So I took the champion duplicator, and boom. That really locks my team down, because the biggest weakness of my team was frontline. Did not have a very strong front line, but by making the 2-star Sejuani, suddenly that problem is solved. And with Redemption plus Dragon's Claw plus Eternal Winter, that is a pretty beefy boar lady over there. If you're unfamiliar with what the Eternal Winter does, I'll just go ahead and read the description. This is currently the most popular Ornn item. They've already nerfed it one time. They're going to nerf it again in the next patch. Here's the description. Enemies who damage the holder have their attack speed slowed by 20% for 1.5 seconds. After being slowed this way 7 times, the attacker is stunned instead. Can only happen once every 15 seconds. The attack speed debuff into the slow is just really good at shutting down any kind of auto attackers on the enemy team. So you put that up on the front line, and it's kind of like a brick wall for the enemy team. Also, once again, we just completely delete the back line of the team that we're up against. It's just kind of funny to watch here. I know I've seen it in like 5 straight rounds at this point, but I'm still enjoying it. All right, Grillo's going to get Tome of Traits and Reformer. He's going to take the Tome of Traits and Reforger. He's trying to pull a Juggernaut emblem. He's currently on 4 Juggernauts. If he can pull the emblem, he can get up to 6 Juggernauts, because he's missing the Aatrox. He doesn't get it, unfortunately. He doesn't really get much of anything in terms of what would be useful for him. I can't remember what he ends up getting, but I don't think it was anything that was particularly useful. So yeah, that was a bit of a miss, but sometimes you hit and sometimes you miss. I hit really hard with pulling the Eternal Winter. And by the way, here I'm going to be able to buy a 2-star Nasus and send it over to him. So that's going to be helpful. And then I'm also going to get 2 out of 3 Aphelioses. So helping to make each other's boards here. It is down to just 2 other teams in the lobby right now. So I'm up against the other Deadeye player. I see that they have a frontline Zephyr, so I'm going to reposition Sejuani at the last second. And do I dodge it? Yes, I do. That person, I think that they're actually correct to try to Zephyr the Sejuani, but watch their backline in this fight. Boop! What? Where was Aphelios? Well, he just died. Boop! Down goes the Ash, just dies instantly. I mean, like, these fights aren't even close, because all the damage on the enemy team dies before they can do anything. Now over to the other team, watch the Lux, boop, down she goes. Yeah, I mean, it's just all the carries on the enemy team die instantly. Again, it's just the way that the Deadeye procs work is they hit the highest health target. It's not going to be one of the frontline tanks, because the frontline tanks are taking chip damage from the start of the fight. So who's full health? Well, it's the carries in the back of the team. They're full health, so they get hit with Deadeye procs, and then they just die instantly because they have so much damage. Anyway, so here I wasn't quite sure. Maybe I could have taken another Hurricane. I decided I would take the Rise in the hopes that maybe we can make Rise 2-star. And, you know, the Dragon's Claw is not amazing or anything, but I guess I can put it on the Vi, I guess. Better than nothing. Anyway, I am going to send the 2-star Nasus over to Grillo. Now, it turns out there's another Sejuani in my store, but I couldn't have known I was going to hit that. One of those other players is playing Sejuani, so there were quite a few of them out of the store. I'm pretty happy with the decision to take the champion duplicator. Now I'm on 2 out of 3 Aphelioses, and I mentioned that to Grillo, and he was like, oh, I have one in the store. That's what that glowing purple thing is, but I don't quite pick it up in time. Still, I'm going to have 2-star Aphelios for the next fight, so that's not so bad. All right, now look at that person. They got an Ahri over there. Ahri's the most OP champ in this patch, but watch the Ahri. She is going to get focused by the Aphelios, and she just dies instantly. So yeah, she does not manage to get her cast off. Very well itemized Ahri. You can see what the person's trying to do. They're trying to rush. Down goes the Lux instantly. They're trying to get to level 9 and then just play Ahri, who's the overpowered champ in this patch. That's kind of been a very popular strategy, is take like the Aurelian Soul Legend and just try to rush to level 9 as fast as possible. Try to get Ahri 2-star. Basically, Ahri 1-star stabilizes really hard in this patch. But it looks like that's not going to happen in this game because we've already knocked them down to 1 HP. And all we have to do is beat either one of the other players for this match to come to a close. I'm not going to hit the Rise. That's okay. It doesn't look like there's going to be enough time for that. But all I have to do is win one more round. And look, this person's on 5 Deadeyes, but oh, they can't find a Jhin. They're level 9. They can't find a Jhin to get 6 Deadeyes in, so they're stuck on 5. Yeah, that's why it's often good to hold a copy of one of the 1-cost units, just in case you would find an emblem of some kind. So they got the Deadeye emblem off the carousel, but yeah, they can't find the Jhin, so they're stuck on 5 Deadeyes. And you know what that means? That means their back eye just dies instantly because they only have 4 Deadeye, and I have 6 Deadeye. And my board's just a lot better. I also have much better augments. They have econ augments. I have actual combat augments. So going to win this pretty convincingly. And now we're just going to head over to the other board. This game is over. So now we just need to finish this one up. We've actually wiped the entire board, everything except the Ahri. So now all we have to do is just kill this last unit. It's on 5 HP, but oh, yeah. Well, that is what happens when Ahri is 2-starred in this patch. Yeah, she killed my entire team with her 3rd cast. So whoops. Well, didn't matter. We already won the match anyway, so GG. But yeah, you did get to see the power of 2-star Ahri there with good itemization. She did wipe my entire team in a single cast there, so yeah. But anyway, the story of this game was the story of the Deadeyes. I just put together this board that was really powerful. 6 Deadeyes plus the double Deathblades plus the Jeweled Lotus was absolutely disgusting, and it just wiped the backline of all of the other teams over and over and over again in a way that was really funny to watch. So I hope you enjoyed this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, have a good week. Take care, folks.